Hi, Alice here. Today I'm visiting the Maclay Gardens in Tallahassee. These gardens are a state park, so we're going to see azaleas, camellias, and other flowers that are at their peak blooming time this time of year. It's springtime in North Florida. Enjoying the beautiful view of Lake Hall. This was the vision of Alfred Maclay, and he was a New York financier. Today, we'll take a walk around some of the developed areas to enjoy the fruits of his efforts, which are all the blooming plants during late winter and spring. That was part of his vision to have blooming plants that he could enjoy when he was here during some of the winter months in this North Florida retreat. A sweep of Walter's viburnum, Mrs. Schiller, planted here along the entranceway into the Maclay's garden. Beautiful example of some palms. And this says Mediterranean sand palm. And the Maclay's garden has been on the National Register of Historic Places. And it was a plantation and archaeological historical district in 1923. And what a great entrance to the garden. Beautiful palms on either side. And what's so fun to come to public gardens is to be able to see a variety of blooming plants, because that was the passion of Mr. Maclay. He wanted to have things that would be blooming in Florida during the winter time. We're going to see camellias, azaleas, and other early spring blooming plants. And this variety right here is also a Walter's viburnum. This one is called densa. And like the Mrs. Schiller's at the other side of the entrance, very dense foliage, evergreen, early spring bloomer. The pollinators start flying in the early spring, and so this provides a source of nectar for them. And in the summer, it just will provide a beautiful green hedge. The camellias in the back are also evergreen. What I love are the two different shades of green and also the difference in the leaf structure. You can see the wonderful garden design that Mr. McKay and his chief gardener and landscape design person concentrated on. Here is the entrance. There's a boulevard, and you can walk up to the house, and the azaleas are in bloom. The walk is quiet, peaceful as you walk along. Behind it, camellias for the evergreen color, a native cabbage palm in the back of trees. So it provides a wonderful walk, the height of spring blooms. Enjoying the blooming azaleas and to see a sweep of them, a mass planting. Another garden design idea or landscape idea, you have a sweep of the white azaleas. And these are all the variety that bloom in late winter, early spring in Florida. And behind them, you have a lot of the camellias that have already bloomed, but in the middle of them is a beautiful Japanese maple red. So great idea of contrast, and more camellias on the other end. Again, the power of a mass planting and then a spectacular accent plant. Along the walkway, the mass of white azalea is followed by a mass of beautiful hot pink azaleas. And as you turn to look to the other side, you have another variety of azaleas, and these are a reddish color, maybe considered a true red. And here is the variety of red azalea. The mass planting of these azaleas continues, and you can see the lake that is here. It's peeking through as you walk along. And here you have the common name cast iron plants, They like shade. What a spectacular grouping of them. And the entrance to one of my favorite places in the garden and the lake in the background. This is Lake Hall. And when Miss Maclay bought this property, he loved the land all around this lake and wanted to have it like a private retreat. This area was originally named after Mr. Maclay's ancestral home in Scotland, and it was renamed Maclay Gardens to honor his name after his death in 1944. His wife, Louise Maclay, continued to develop the gardens. In 1953, she donated the gardens to the state of Florida. As we continue to walk the gardens, and as you look at the slope of the landscape down to Lake Hall, you'll see that it's characterized by rolling hills, and this is part of what's called the Red Hills region of North Florida. You can see one of the developed areas and walking trails. This is a spectacular sweep of cast iron plants. It starts at the entrance to the gazebo, and it continues as a border all the way along the walkway for quite a ways. And what a great idea. It's shady because there's several live oaks overhead that provide the perfect conditions for these plants to grow and protection from the occasional frost and freeze that we have here in North Florida. The walkway was designed so that there's a bend. It's not just a straight line. And so you're curious to find out, what am I going to see next? And it's a great walk to the Maclay's home, which is at the top of the road, and you can see it peeking out through the shrubs, the azaleas on one side. As we walk, some sago palms. Here is the front yard area, the drive up, and a lovely circular path to the house, which gives you the opportunity to look out over manicured yard and having a view from the top of this area of Lake Hall. The home, one story, it's at the top of the rise. Very modest, but Maclay's loved it. We've switched from Walter's viburnum to boxwood for a hedge leading up to the house. Beautifully maintained. And at the top, we have what are commonly called red tips. This can grow to a huge shrub. It does have blooms in the spring, and it gets its name because the new growth on it looks red, hence red tips. We are now on what is called on the map the Camellia Walk. There are camellia bushes surrounding the walk. Because of the height of these bushes, you know that they have been here for many years. There are different varieties of camellias. This is designed for a solitary walk, contemplating the beauties of the morning, and we are walking into the walled garden area. And this is a wonderful garden feature, huge camellia on the corner of the walled garden, adding a sense of protection and privacy. These large azaleas matched color on either side. Entrance says to Louise F. Maclay, who furthered her husband's vision. This memorial is dedicated by her admiring friends in 1974. And a line covering the entrance, trimmed boxwood, beautiful azaleas around the garden, curly leaf parsley, along with the curly leaf parsley, winter bedding plants, petunias, pansies, snapdragon, beds that go around the central water feature. The circular area is bordered by mondo grass, very beautiful. It's a double row, and what a great texture and color look that it provides. The beds have similar plantings so that the theme repeats all the way around the garden. And same thing at the higher level. So that you come down a step down from boxwood, large azaleas, down to this circular area in the walled garden, and the theme repeats all the way around. There are some bench areas if you want to sit and have a private meditation. What a spectacular view coming out of the walled garden to the reflection pond. The pond is flanked on either side by beautiful azaleas, camellias behind them, stately palm trees. That's the cabbage palm, the native palm. And there's a little side area that leads to another area called the pond. This is a private, secret feeling walk. Magnificent old camellias providing an overhead coverage. Beautiful azaleas. It's easy to walk along and just enjoy the spectacular blooms. And I so appreciate that there's still some camellias in bloom. They seem to come out a little bit earlier than the variety of azaleas. We've gone from some sun to shade. What a delight. Here is a Florida anise plant like what I have planted, and this one is blooming. This is the red bloom that you see. Will grow larger and fill in this area. Wonderful walk today. Walking back will be just as spectacular as coming up. What a wonderful place to come to enjoy the beauty of springtime in North Florida and to appreciate the vision of the Maclay family, especially Alfred Maclay, in buying this property and developing it. Thanks for watching. I hope you had a good time. I certainly had a wonderful time enjoying these beautiful gardens here at Maclay Gardens State Park in Tallahassee. Subscribe. Garden Yay. See you again soon.